That is why my gut feeling is now leaning towards tabernacles because of that perfect timeline. But I expect we could go on trumpets, Day of Atonement, first day of tabernacles, or last day of tabernacles. And we even wrote a song about Shemini Atzeret. Here it is as a little blast from the past. For more on this special report, we take you live to Dr. Barry on the roof with an umbrella. Of course he is. Dr. Barry? Dr. Barry? Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shim shim sharoo. We have been blessed to be friends with you. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shimini atzeret. An 8th last day rapture is good as it gets. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shim shim sharee. It sure looks like rapture if you would ask me. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shimini atzeret. Our redemption draws nigh, on that you can bet. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shim shim sharoo. It's been such an honor for me to serve you. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shimini atzeret. By looking for Jesus, a crown you will get. By looking for Jesus, a crown we will get. Got it? You're supposed to say cut. Okay. And now, Dr. Barry is going to jump off the roof using only this umbrella. Here we go! Ah! That truly was a special report. So talk about blast. I have blasted you with everything I have been dwelling on. I had so much in my mind. There's even more that I could go over, but in a wrap-up, Yahweh is the light of men, and that light is the life of men. You must be born again. How do you be born again? You hear the story of Jesus and what he did on the cross, and that his blood that he spilled was the sacrifice to make atonement for mankind. It was the price that needed to be paid, was perfect blood of God made man. Man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down teaching. His death shall bring the despairing rest and grace, and it will restore the spirit of mankind. He accomplished his goal. Now, all who believe on and cling to Jesus as their salvation, you now are born again of the Spirit by your belief. As Adam and Eve lost it by their belief that they would be like God and rise apart, they lost the Spirit by a bite. God came back, Jesus came back, and he says, here, bread, eat this, it's my body. Drink this wine, it is my blood. The blood of a new and everlasting covenant. So, he paid the price to buy us back, and it's offered to all mankind. You're not saved by how good you live your life. You're saved by belief. By faith are you saved, not of works, lest any man should boast about their works. This is why I'm excited, because these timelines confirm each other. How can Jesus come back like Moses, that he prophesied? Moses was 80 when he came back to save Israel. He must show up in the middle of the tribulation. I know this has not been taught by very many. I know Yaku at God's Roadmap to the End, he sees it this way also, but other than that, I have not heard anybody teaching this. But I believe the middle of the tribulation is a lot more going on than we ever thought. When the two witnesses die and then they come up on their feet and are called up, I've been saying this for years, I believe the 144,000 are also called up. And then the gospel is preached by angels for the wrath of God in the second half. At the middle of the tribulation, God says, now the time has come. Satan is kicked out. Now the kingdoms of this world have become Yahweh's. At the middle of the tribulation, he's going to land on the Mount of Olives and split it in half, just like Moses split the Red Sea. And it's going to be the next Exodus. And as they go out into Petra, they will now be 80 years old, fulfilling that perfect typology of Moses. And they will know Jesus at that time, 70 to 80 years. It was a 7-year warning for us, which is right now. And it was a 10-year warning for them, which will be in 2028 in the spring. Absolutely perfect. All the signs in the sun, moon, and stars, all the timelines, God said, teach me to number my days that I might apply my head to wisdom and my heart. So, again, trumpets, atonement, tabernacles. If they pass, God forbid, because we really want the tribulation to start perfectly on time too, and us to be out before. But there's still a little wiggle room. Followed, right after the next month is the month of the flood anniversary. We know how that fits. And then Hanukkah, Enoch was the first one raptured. So it still would fit all the way the rest of this year. So we'll handle it as it comes. But here's another thing I want you to think about. We get raptured up. What's the first thing in heaven, Mr. Bones? He opens the first seal, and the white horse rider comes out bringing peace. So we are entering the end of the year for God. It's the last month, the month of October. If we get raptured in the month of October, immediately after is the U.S. election in November, and Trump will win because he is the only one that can be the white horse rider. He's not the Antichrist, in my opinion. He's a Antichrist. Jesus said there are many Antichrists. So he's on the team, just like the Pope, okay? But Satan will be the real guy. And I believe the one that will rise up as Antichrist for the first part, I believe he's a young man around 30 years old, fulfilling that typology of Jesus. But Trump is the guy that can bring peace to Israel. And peace, he's the only one with relations to everybody. He is the one that will get the temple built. They have already crowned him. They gave him a crown when he was in office last time. They gave him a golden menorah, and on the bottom of it said, Donald Trump, Prince of Peace. They put him on a coin with Cyrus, calling him a Messiah, an anointed one. He keeps saying God saved him for the purpose of saving the world. So he's calling himself God's anointed special savior. So Israel already sees him as that. They see the Messiah, just like Cyrus was a type of Messiah that helped them build their temple. He was anointed, chosen by God. That's how they already see Trump. So Trump has to go in. Well, guess what? He'll go in. The election will be in November. He'll actually take office in January, but still, how perfect for us to be raptured. God opens the first seal, and boom, here comes the white horse rider. And it's Donald J. Trump, bringing peace and prosperity, right? And Israel starts to prosper. But it'll be during Great Tribulation, because the next seal is war and famine and death and hell. So the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are still coming. But in the second half of the tribulation, I don't know if any of you have read this, but in the second half of the tribulation, there's another 4 horsemen of the Apollyon, or Apocalypse, or Abaddon. And they are horses with lions' heads and snakes' tails, and they breathe out fire. And they come out with that locust horde, and it's like a 200 million men army and supernatural. So the second half of the tribulation is like all supernatural. And that's why I believe those that died during the tribulation and resisted the mark and made it, however they went, they were martyred, but they will be taken up in the middle of the tribulation when Israel is taken to Petra. All right. I hope you got something out of that. I was kind of excited about this, and like I said, I just had so much that I wrote notes everywhere. I hope it was enjoyable for you and a blessing for you. I believe this is our year. We will wait and see, but I expect to see you in the air in October of 2024. Mr. Bones, I'm out of here. Was I going to say anything? You got something to add?
I think Rapture's at the Feast of Trumpets.
That's my boy.